is up, awesome people, and welcome back to another Wi-Fi Wednesday shenanigans! Okay, so tonight I'm bringing you some more shenanigans from the International Challenge way back in February. Yes, we're slowly getting through the February ones. I promise I haven't got that many left for the International Challenge from February, so we can slowly make our way through that, get through March, and then get our way through May, I do believe. And then we should be all up to track. Hope I can get that all done before the next IC. Thankfully, I didn't do this month's IC, so I've got a bit of a chance to catch up. Regardless, I hope you guys enjoy tonight's shenanigans, so let's get on with it. So again, just a little reminder, these are all pre-recorded videos, all from the last update before I had to do that, so as I said, I do apologise for any narration muck-ups here. So anyways, the opponent's going to lead with the Muck and the Porygon 2 leading, so I'm assuming it's going to be Trick Room, considering the rest of their team was almost complementary to Trick Room, so I'm like, okay, this is going to be really interesting here. Do I go for the Muck or do I go for the Porygon for the fake out? I ended up deciding to go for the Porygon 2 just in case I did go for the Trick Room there as well, just to counter my Trick Room, considering I was going to go for the Trick Room there. Otherwise, I was going to go for the Skull from the Slowbro, predicting the Trick Room. However, at the same time, I didn't really want to be risking the whole shenanigans there with Trick Room, so I just decided to go for the Porygon 2 instead. Get my Trick Room up with Slowbro, but unfortunately during that process, I did get hit with Knockoff, lost my Wiki Berry, and at the same time, Poison Touch kicked in and poisoned my Slowbro. So it wasn't one of those gluttony Figgy Berry mucks that we always love to see. So I guess that was kind of good, but at the same time really bad because I've lost my recovery and I got poisoned. So I went for Skull there on the Porygon 2, did some damage there just to make sure I could take it out with the close combat, just in case it was one of those relaxed, Everlight, bulky Porygon 2s, which I enjoy seeing a lot of the time. Not really, I hate seeing those ones. I enjoy seeing the quiet ones if I can live one of their hits. Anyways, Poison Jab there onto the Hariyama, brings it down to the orange. Poison on the Slowbro does bring me down a little bit into the lower orange range, which is quite annoying. Burn slowly withering my Hariyama as well. In comes the Dramper. I was like, okay, I probably need to either get rid of the Dramper or the Muck here. They're both quite big threats for my Pokemon. So I go for the Ice Beam onto my Dramper there. That does about a quarter damage there, just a little bit over the half mark there. Go for the Close Back on the Muck, and unfortunately, I failed to take out the Muck. I was like, oh, that's kind of not good, because now at this point, Dramper can just go for the Hyper Voice and take out both of my Pokemon. That was kind of a big error on my part. I probably should have gone for the Dramper with the close combat, taken that out, and then taken the knockoff from the Muck, and I only would have lost one Pokemon that turn. So that was kind of not good. Life Orb does take the Dramper down to the orange, and due to the fact it was residual damage from anything but a damaging move, the Berserk doesn't kick in there, which is kind of good. So my last two Pokemon in reserve are going to be the Vikavolt and the Mudsdale. So I go for the Earthquake here. Due to Levitate on Vikavolt, that doesn't take damage, which is awesome. Great synergy there from Vikavolt and Mudsdale. And luckily for me, Earthquake does take out the Muck and the Dramper, which is awesome. So two big threats out the way, which is really, really cool. And that will reveal the opponent's last Pokemon in reserve, which is going to be the Oranguru, which at this point is kind of useless, considering Oranguru's very barren move pool, I do believe. Most of the time it runs Instruct, Trick Room, Protect, and maybe Foul Play or Psychic or Size Shock. It isn't exactly known for being a sweeper, it's just known for support most times in doubles. I very rarely have seen it as a sweepy Pokemon. As I said, most times it's a support Pokemon. So it takes a Earthquake and a Bug Buzz. Critical hit there as well for Salt to the Wound there from the Bug Buzz, and that is game there for the first battle, which is really cool. So as I said, that was one way of going up against a anti or just a Trick Room team there. I sometimes have trouble with those particular teams because I either predicting they're going to go for a Trick Room, or they mistake kind of like blanket themselves as Trick Room teams, and instead I over-predict and I end up costing the entire battle. Anyways, round 2, we have a Ninetales and a Tapu Fini, my absolute favourite teams. End sarcasm there. Okay, so there is two things I can do here. I can go for the fake out onto the Tapu Fini, stop that from using the Moonblast, and then risk Aurora Veil going up for the Ninetales, or even just a Moonblast if that is a sweepy Ninetales. Or I can fake out the Ninetales, break its Sash, which most of them run 9 out of 10 times, and then take a Moonblast from the Hariyama, which will also reveal to me what type of set this Tapu Fini is. So considering the fact that it was a critical hit and it didn't take me out, is telling me that it's going to be a bulky Tapu Fini, whether it be a Carmine set, a defensive wall, or a special defensive wall, still remains a bit of a mystery here. So at least I get the Trick Room up on the Slowbro. I did break the sash on a Ninetales, which is good, and I did actually find out what the Tapu Fini is on that one turn, which was really, really cool for me because I can kind of use that to my advantage and figure out my plan of attack. So my plan of attack is basically just focus the Ninetales with Scald, and because I failed to get my guts up with the Misty Terrain on the field, I'm not going to be doing as much damage, which unfortunately does kind of bite me in the bum a little bit later in the battle, but we'll get to that when that happens. So Poison Jab onto Ninetales is enough to take it out after the Scald, which is great, so that can't go for Blizzard or the Oraval, which is really annoying, especially on an already tanky Pokemon on the field like Tapu Fini or even a Chansey, so that's great. That's avoiding problem number 1. Problem number 2, as I said, was kind of the whole Misty Terrain preventing me getting the Guts boost as well, considering my particular EV spread on Hariyama does heavily rely on Guts. Mind you, I did kind of met that set long before the whole Misty Terrain shenanigans actually began. So as I kind of mentioned in my last IC stream, I actually might rebreed Hariyama to kind of counteract that problem. Anyways, Muck comes onto the field, go for the Scald onto the Muck, it does about a quarter damage, and due to the fact I don't have Guts, there's problem 3. I don't take out the Mucks because it is a bit of a bulky Muck set. This one is, however, the Gluttony Figgy Berry set, so that's going to go back up to the green with the Figgy Berry, and that's going to go for the knockoff, go on my Slowbro, and that is going to take out my Slowbro, unfortunately, so that's bad. But I think by that point of the battle, it didn't really matter because I hadn't lost a Pokemon by that point, except for now. So I've lost both of my front Pokemon, which is bad, and they're up 1 Pokemon. So Muck's going to take some hail damage, and Finny's going to take some hail damage as well. But unfortunately, Leftovers is kind of healing the hail damage back. So at this point, my back's against the wall, going, oh dear me, this is not good. So my last 2 Pokemon in reserve is going to be Mudsdale and Vikavolt. And back in February, these 2 are quite monsters when they're put together. Vikavolt, as I said, with Levitate can avoid the earth damage from Earthquake, and at the same time it can take out things like Tapu Fini or any bulky water-type Pokemon or Pokemon like Garchomp, etc, etc. So Tapu Fini went for the Protect there, obviously predicting the Thunderbolt for my Vikavolt. I do go for the Earthquake, which I'm hoping is enough to take out the Muck. Muck takes the hit, and that goes down. I was like, thankfully that happens. So Muck goes down and bites the dust, leaving Tapu Fini on the field, which obviously protected itself that turn. So no KO there, unfortunately. And I don't think I would KO it due to the fact that it is a tanky set. I'd probably do about 3/4 damage. So I was like, okay, that Tapu Fini is going to take some big damage next turn. So leftover recovery once again, recovering the hail damage. And the last Pokemon in reserve is the Garchomp. I'm like, sweet, I can take that up with Hidden Power Ice with Expert Belt on the Vikavolt, and I can do some damage to the Tapu Fini. Well, take that back, I ain't gonna do any damage with the Tapu Fini. Double Protect. God damn it. Well, that happened. So Hidden Power Ice onto the Garchomp. Take that out with, obviously, because there's no way in this wide world that Garchomp's gonna live unless it was something crazy set like Max Health, Max Special Defense, Assault Vest Garchomp. I think that's the only way it'd probably live with Assault Vest, Hidden Power, Vikavolt. Anyways, Misty Terrain finally lifts from the field, and there's no hail as well, meaning the Tapu Fini's really right back in the corner there, going for the Moonblast on my Vikavolt. That's not going to do very much due to the fact it's a tanky set. I go for the Thunderbolt there. That is definitely a defensive wall, Tapu Fini, considering I did that much damage to it. High horsepower just to finish off the battle. I probably should have gone for the Earthquake, probably just to make sure I take it out. But regardless, that's my win, which is really cool because, as I said, my back was right against the wall there about halfway through that battle. Speaking of my back against the wall, we've got this last battle, and oh my dear God, this was an intense battle. I honestly am surprised I walked away with the results I did with this battle. Okay, so strap yourselves in because we're going to be in for a wild ride here. So the usual shenanigan lead here, Slowbro and Hariyama versus the Tapu Koko and Ninetales lead. My God, we're seeing a lot of Ninetales tonight with Wi-Fi Wednesday. So it's like, okay, well, we should know what to do here because most times I do live a Thunderbolt from the Tapu Koko unless it's like a Wild Charge Tapu Koko. That's about the only time I don't live, or it's a Brave Bird Tapu Koko, but that's only if it's a physical set. So I fake out the Ninetales, and then I see this. I see Electrium Z Tapu Koko, and I'm like, oh no, there is no way in this wide world I'm going to live a Gigavolt Havoc from most likely a Thunderbolt from a Tapu Koko. Even if it is something like a Discharge or Electro Ball, heck, it'd be freaking Thundershock. I am not going to live that, so... Oh, of course it's a critical hit. Of course it's a critical hit. I am definitely not living that. So that's an awesome start to the battle. I have already lost Slowbro, no Trick Room. That was my only Trick Room setup as well because I didn't bring Executor with me. So I'm going to have to bring in the Mudsdale here, scare out the Ninetales because I know a Heavy Slam's going to be coming their way. And at the same time, they're going to be predicting the Heavy Slam. Just bring in Toxicroak, to be the icing on top. So Electro Ball comes my way. I was like, oh, that's what it came off. I definitely wasn't going to live that. So I go for Poison Jab, take out the Tapu Koko because screw that thing. That thing really screwed my plans up. So Heavy Slam coming from the Mudsdale here. Going to slam that Toxiplex for not very effective damage at all. I barely did 1/5 damage there. So Burn's going to slowly wither away my Hariyama. Next up is the Arcanine. I was like, oh, I do believe Hariyama might be dead this turn. Like it normally is. So Intimidate is going to chop my attack there. I mean, heck, what Arcanine doesn't run Intimidate now? Wild Charge's going to hit the Hariyama, going to take me out. Does going to do some recoil damage there to the Arcanine at least, which is great. So some residual damage there. And I do believe I go for the Earthquake from the Mudsdale here, predicting that the Hariyama is going to die here. Liquidation's going to hit my Mudsdale for some nasty damage there, bit over 1/4 damage. Do get the Sentiment boost there, which is going to be my saving grace. Spoilers there. Do go for the Earthquake as I thought, and that should take out the No, I just missed out on the KO. Go figure. I kind of wanted the KO there so I could bring in my next Pokemon, which is going to be Vikavolt, which is my only Pokemon in reserve at this point too. As I said, I've already lost 2 Pokemon, meaning these are my last 2 Pokemon. So I've got a nasty Arcanine in the field, which I know is going to go for the Flare Blitz on Vikavolt, so I'm going to protect there just to prevent that damage, and hopefully I can take out the Toxapex and the Arcanine with the Earthquake from the Mudsdale. I was hoping they didn't go for Liquidation, which they did, and actually went for the Toxic in their... Honestly, I should have gone for the Liquidation and just gone straight for the actual attack because, as I said, they're my last 2 Pokemon and they had nothing to lose by that point. So I go for the Earthquake. Toxapex does live, unfortunately, but I do take out the Arcanine, which is awesome because I can send in whatever's left over, which is, I think, the Ninetales, and then I can take out Toxapex with the Thunderbolt and then Heavy Slam the Ninetales if I live a Blizzard, that is. Okay, so obviously having set out the whole plan, if they went for Liquidation the last turn, I do believe the Mudsdale would probably be dead this turn. So thankfully they actually went for Toxic last turn. So anyways, as I said, stamina boost there from the Blizzard. I do live thanks to Assault Vest and Max Health as well from the Mudsdale. Liquidation comes in and it actually fails to kill my Mudsdale. I was like, woohoo! Awesome! So that was the best result I probably could have asked for. Go for the Thunderbolt on the Vikavolt, onto the Toxapex. That takes out the Toxapex, and we all know what's coming Ninetales' way. I did actually fake out Ninetales in turn 1, which means it doesn't have a sash. If it even had one, which I do believe it did, because I didn't see Life Orb damage. And that is Ninetales out, and that is game, set, and match from me. Oh my dear God, that was some intense match. As I said, if they went for Liquidation instead of going Toxic, Mudsdale actually would have gone down that turn. That would have been game over for me. But regardless, that last match was indeed one hell of an intense match. So anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed tonight's Wi-Fi Wednesday. Big apologies for not uploading Wi-Fi Wednesday the last week. I do believe I uploaded the week before that. I hope I did. Otherwise, if I didn't, huge apologies for lack of Wi-Fi Wednesday. So hopefully I can get a few more Wi-Fi Wednesdays up. As I said, I do want to get through the February IC and actually do finally move on to March. So I will try and get them out as fast as I can. Until then, this is Lady KrimZen saying ciao for now, but not forever. Ciao!